Hi, I'm Julia Hankins, the founder of Wellbeing Adventurers. And as next week is Children's Mental Health Week, I thought it'd be a really good chance to just kind of reflect on the theme of the week. And so I have written a blog about this, but I thought it would just be, sometimes people prefer to listen rather than read, and sometimes people prefer to read rather than listen. So this time I wrote the blog first and I'm just going to talk about it. So the theme next week is This is my place. And it's all about belonging, which, as we know, is really, really vital part of our well-being. Belonging is not just, a nice to have. It's not a soft skill, It's not a soft extra. It's a psychological need, a really deeply woven into our mental health. And it really has an impact on children's learning and long-term well-being, and place to be articulate it really, really clearly on their website. They're talking about how young people experience when young people experience a strong sense of belonging, that they're more likely to feel confident to be themselves and try new things, that they develop resilience when facing challenges and setbacks, build stronger relationships and communication skills, experience less anxiety and loneliness, develop healthy self-esteem and self-worth, and they feel motivated to contribute positively into their communities. And so we do already know this, don't we? We know, for those of us working in schools, nurseries, PE lessons, yoga sessions, mindfulness spaces, however you're working with children, we do know that when the children are feeling comfortable, that they bring more of themselves to the lesson and we see more of them. And I think it's a really pertinent and important time for us to think about how intentionally are we creating belonging in the environments in which we lead. And so at Wellbeing Adventurers, fostering a sense of belonging isn't just a nice tick in a box. It isn't a nice add-on. It's foundational to everything that we do. And I don't believe that we can meaningfully engage with children unless they actually have a sense of belonging and unless they feel safe and included and valued. And so today I'm going to share 5 ways in which we intentionally nurture in our classes and workshop a sense of belonging. And I hope that these reflections will offer some practical value for you, whether you're considering working with Wellbeing Adventurers or whether you're just looking for ways in which you can foster belonging in your own classes and workshops. So the first thing is to help children feel safe, seen and valued, and that begins with being recognised. And so a core way that we do that in Wellbeing Adventurers classes is by using names. We encourage schools to provide us with name cards for our wellbeing lessons so that we can ensure that when we're chatting to children, we're using their names. And it's a really, really small thing, but it's a really, really valuable thing. And it signals to children, I see you, you matter here, you're important. And from a psychological perspective, it aligns with the children's needs for relatedness and emotional safety. And when they feel safe and when they feel seen, their nervous system's settled. And when they feel valued, they're more likely to engage in the lesson and take risks, and they're more likely to show up as themselves authentically. And so for practitioners, this is just a really gentle reminder that it isn't necessarily a big thing that you do that can make people feel like they belong. It's something really simple that you do every time, like making sure that you use someone's name when you talk to them. Another thing that we do, the second thing, is ensure that everybody's involved, not just the confident ones. So you know what it's like when you're teaching. There's always going to be 3 to 4 children whose names you probably know really well, because they're always the ones that are getting involved and they're always the ones that are showing what they can do and what they know. But I don't believe that true belonging can happen if we're only focusing on those few, and if we are not encouraging everybody to become involved in the lesson. And so at Wellbeing Adventurers, we design the sessions for maximum engagement, and that means planning it carefully so that Children aren't sitting waiting or watching or simply copying other people for long periods of time. And so we do this by active participation and getting the children as involved as much as we can. And this looks like being creative and encouraging them to just be creative as they like, and not really having a firm fixed outcome of what you're expecting to see, but giving a prompt and a suggestion and seeing what the children come up with themselves. And so that really creates some imaginative movement rather than performance of what there's no rigidity in our classes. And I think when the children feel invited to create and imagine and explore in their own way, they're no longer trying to get it right, and they're simply just part of the lesson and part of the experience, and it helps them to feel a sense of belonging. So when we do this, it supports inclusion and it reduces comparison, and it helps children who might otherwise withdraw or mask to stay connected. So that looks like not expecting every child to look exactly the same. The third thing that we do in our classes to promote belonging is promote collaboration and teaching the skills to do it. It's not innate, it's learned. Collaboration doesn't come naturally to everybody. Some children will learn it simply by being around other children who can collaborate, and they pick it up as a skill. But many children actually have to be taught skills. And so whenever in Wellbeing Adventurers lessons we're having partnership or group work, there's ways in which we support children to do this. And so we scaffold it gently, we model communication, we offer choice in how children will participate, and we support children when they're feeling a bit shaky and unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Not everybody's going to feel comfortable collaborating, but when they do collaborate and when we help them to collaborate, then that helps to foster a sense of belonging. So it's not about forcing anything. It's not about making children go with particular people. It's about teaching the skills of being with others in a way that feels emotionally safe to them. Another thing that we do, the fourth thing I'm going to talk about today, is accepting and celebrating differences and meeting the children where they are. And so if you want children to truly feel like they belong, we don't want to ask them to change who they are. We don't want to expect them to be anything other than what they are. And so at the heart of what we do in Wellbeing Adventurers is a belief that children deserve to be accepted for exactly as they are. And so our resources deliberately designed to support differentiation and offer multiple options and honour different bodies and brains and nervous systems. And so we encourage children to be different, and we give lots of options and lots of choices, and we talk about in our classes how there's no single right way to do a particular thing. There's obviously safe ways of doing it, but we encourage children to do what feels right in their body. And that approach aligns with inclusive, trauma-informed and neuro-affirming practice. And when children experience that sense of acceptance, they learn that they don't need to hide parts of themselves in order to belong. And that's really, really important to me. Finally, I believe that belonging starts with helping children feel at home in themselves. And so if you are a wellbeing practitioner, a yoga teacher, mindful teacher, something like that, I strongly believe that you already know this, because the most important sense of belonging that we can gain is by being at home in ourselves. And in Wellbeing Adventurers lessons, we teach this through moving, breathing and relaxation. And we teach children how to notice their bodies without judgment, how to recognise and regulate their nervous system, and also how to develop self-awareness and self-acceptance. And when children feel safe in their bodies and their minds, then it's easier for them to be part of a group. It's easier for them to have a sense of belonging, and it becomes more accessible for them to be around other people. So that's why in our classes we place such a strong emphasis on embodied well-being, because we think that belonging is not just social, but it's physiological, emotional, and it's deeply personal too. So Children's Mental Health Week is a valuable thing to raise awareness of children's mental health and well-being, but it goes further than just being a poster or a hashtag or something that we share on social media or something that we do. It's taking a pause, a chance to reflect on not just what we teach, but how it feels to be in the spaces that we're in. And whether you're an educator or a yoga teacher or a mindfulness practitioner, I'd like to invite you to ask yourself a question. And that question is, do the children in my care feel that this is their place? Because that's the theme of this week, isn't it? My place. Do the children that you teach feel like your space is their place? And if your answer is mostly, yeah, they do, then well done, you're doing a great job. And if you're not sure, then perhaps this is something for you to consider a little bit more. So that's all from me for this week. I'm hoping that you found some interesting things from what I was talking about there. If you'd like my support in any way, so whether you're a school that would like me to come in and deliver some wellbeing sessions for you, or whether you are a children's wellbeing practitioner and you'd like some support in whatever it is you're delivering, or you're looking for some more training, then get in touch. I would love to help you to support children and their wellbeing.